Hey, this is Nick with Ultimate Motorcycling, and today we just got wrapped up riding the 2018 Yamaha XSR700 all throughout San Diego. We hit some of the streets, we went out into the canyons, and got to spend a lot of quality time on Yamaha's latest Sport Heritage introduction. Now, the XSR700 has been part of the Yamaha family for some time, but here in the United States, it took a little time to get here. Now we're glad to have it. You know, of course, the XSR700 is built upon a really strong foundation of the MT-07, and that's what we're going to be calling the FZ-07 from now on into 2018. So in case you guys didn't get the memo, the FZ line is now known as the MT. The XSR700 pays respects to its original XS series way back when, and you know, it takes some of those styling cues and applies them to a modern build and a modern bike that the modern consumer would actually enjoy. And some of the styling cues, of course, are this gas tank right here, and these are actually aluminum panels that can be removed, and people will go ahead and customize these and things of that nature. But right below it is a you know, steel fuel cell. You know, other little accoutrements to give that heritage look are the round headlight, round LCD display, and the LED round taillight. You know, things like that that really just kind of give it that classic charm. But again, it's built upon that really strong MT-07 foundation. So the nuts and bolts of this bike, chassis, suspension, engine, braking, everything else, that's what we've all come to know and love in the United States as the MT-07. It's a great package, really sporty, really nimble, has a great amount of horsepower for the street and the canyon, so I think a lot of users are going to get a lot of use out of this bike. But of course, you know, it's a styling statement. So if you're into this and you're not really sure on, say, the MT-07 styling, this might be more up your alley, and of course, you're going to be getting that same performance that you'd expect. Now, between the two bikes, there actually are some key differences. So the MT-07 is the more sportier version, kind of the more hooligan bike of the bunch. And the XSR700 right here, there are some changes to make it a little bit more mature. So they've gone ahead and raised the handlebar just a hair. They've also lengthened it slightly and given it a little bit more reach rearward. Additionally, the bike is slightly taller and it is just a hair heavier, a few pounds. So all in all, what that does is that changes the rider triangle and gives you a little bit more upright position. So it's not as sporty as the MT-07, but again, you have that just over 55-inch wheelbase, great maneuverability at slow speeds, and it's still really compliant at speed when you're in the canyons. One of the things that I've always really enjoyed about the MT-07 is its 689cc parallel twin engine. It has great power throughout the entire rev range. You know, for my personal taste, I tend to stick right in that kind of middle range of the power bands. But this thing is happy to rev out all the way to the red line, and it's not really gonna, you know, put up any fight. You know, fueling's really good, has a very snappy throttle response. It has a lot of pep to it, so if you're in second gear and you just whack the throttle on, the front end's gonna come up and you're gonna be able to have some fun. So it does have that hooligan nature at heart, despite the fact that it's styled with something that's arguably a little bit more mature. You know, some of the other things that are returning from the MT-07 into the XSR700, of course, are stuff like the braking components. Those are going to be really good for, you know, novice and intermediate riders because they don't have this harsh initial bite that you'd find on bigger, more high-performance machines. Now, of course, more advanced riders that jump on this bike might feel that there is a lack of feel at the brake lever. One thing that we'd always like to remind our readers and viewers is that, you know, these braking components on these more price point oriented machines, you can do a little bit of work to them. If you're a more advanced rider and you want a little bit more out of the brakes, you can upgrade to a higher performance brake pad and higher performance braking lines, so steel braided brake lines, and that'll give you just a little bit more out of the braking systems available here. Again, these are totally adequate brakes for the speeds that you're going to be achieving, especially around town or in the canyons, but for the advanced rider that might be coming off of bigger bikes and have a lot more experience, whether it's on the track or in the canyons, they're probably going to want them a little bit more here, whereas the novice riders, intermediate riders, they're going to be really happy with the braking response, and it's not going to really shock them or just kind of throw them for a loop. These bikes do come with ABS, and the ABS systems are totally amicable. You're not going to run into any issues with, ABS systems kicking in too early. The only time it really triggers in sort of an unwarranted fashion is if it's over really, really rough surfaces, and that makes a lot of sense. So that's not a negative about the ABS, but that's just kind of a reality of it. And you can actually get away with not activating over those same surfaces by just having smoother inputs on the brakes. We're also seeing some updated suspension components as well. So they've gone ahead and revamped the spring rates and damping characteristics overall. As someone grows into this bike and becomes more confident with it, and they learn how to use all of the power in the 689cc parallel twin, there's tons and tons of drop-in solutions that are pretty affordable for both the front, and you can also replace the rear shock for a few $100s. But overall, someone that's coming in from a novice level or intermediate level and they jump on this bike, I think they're going to be perfectly happy, because as we were going through today, we hit a lot of rough tarmac, and one of the really strong points of this bike overall is that it stays compliant and the chassis doesn't get upset by inconsistencies in the road. So as we're going through some of the canyons with a good bit of pace and you hit some bumps, you will get just a little bit of this motion, which is totally okay because it doesn't upset your line, so that you're just getting feedback. Overall, this thing has been really impressive, and I think the middleweight class has become highly competitive in the past couple of years, and that's really cool because these bikes, just whether you're a novice, intermediate, or an advanced rider, you're going to get on these things and have so much fun because it changes the way you're riding. So anyway, if you guys have any questions or comments, go ahead and drop them below, and visit ultimatemotorcycling.com for more reviews just like this. As always, be safe out there, guys. Take care.